real, Mike.
That's right. We're for real now.
All right. Let's see. I think we're good. Hello, sir. How are you today?
Man, life is good, Will. I'm doing very good. Did you have a nice week?
Had a very good week so far.
Cool. Good.
Well, it's only Tuesday, so
Yeah, well, I meant last
it is
week.
more.
I meant-
Oh, last week was good.
How was last week?
It was last week. Last week was an amazing week actually.
Good,
Yeah,
good,
really
man.
good things.
What's on your highlight reel? You had to fill it all in one Instagram story post.
Oh my God, I don't think I can do that.
Whoa, that sounds pretty
There's
good.
so much to do. I think the one thing I did that I never do is go shooting.
Right, that's cool. That's
Went to
cool.
this shooting range.
That's fascinating, man.
It was so fun.
How come you liked it so much? What was it?
Well, I grew up with my dad. With my dad, we just go somewhere in nature and just shoot.
Like
Not
the desert or something?
actual guns. I don't know the name of it, but like the airsoft one.
Airsoft or BB guns? One
Yeah.
of those where...
But we shoot that for like in the morning, just like nonstop, and do that for fun, And I kind of liked it.
Oh, it's
And I
cool.
think it taught me how to do it and how to stay calm and everything, and and trigger and
You're holding incredible power in your hands that
Yeah.
can be so destructive.
yeah.
But if you are a controlled individual, and you're just tranquil, then
Yeah.
there's no danger.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's something pretty cool about being able to aim at targets and hit a bullseye.
There is something great about it. I don't know what it is really I can sense like maybe you would think, oh, this is a weapon, I'm using that to destroy or other people, whatever.
Right.
you
Or
know.
even like self-defense, the whole peace by fear kind of thing. Oh,
Well,
yeah, there's a gun in the household.
Exactly, yeah. But in a way, it's also, I consider it as a sport.
Right.
Because it requires so much concentration and putting yourself in such flow state,
Yes.
and like you said, peaceful mind, that really, at the same time, you trigger something that's
Scary.
so much energy to
Oh,
it,
yeah.
right?
Right.
It's so that's I think that both is kind of like yin and yang
Right.
situation here.
Do you take a breath in and a breath out before you shoot? Do you
Yeah.
have any breath tricks that you do?
100%. I think that's the goal. That's how to do it.
Yeah.
You really got to calm your nervous system down. Don't think about anything. Just relax. It's almost meditation when you think
Right.
about it.
Right. Man, it's wild.
But you're
though.
shooting a gun, and yeah,
Which could be so chaotic and everything.
It
but
is.
It's like, no, you have to be really, really calm to do
Yeah,
this. So
yeah.
that takes a strong mind for
Mhm.
sure.
Have you shot before?
It's been a really long time, but there was 2 times, and the first time I did it was at a shooting range, and I had a best friend who was my neighbor growing up, and he's like, "You want to go shooting?" And I'm like, "Sure." I think I was like 18 or 19 at the time,
Right.
so I was only able to do rifles. I
Yeah.
don't even know if I shot a handgun that day.
Yeah.
It was really fun, man.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. I mean,
Mhm.
it was cool, and just getting even kind of close to that target is like,
Yeah.
oh man, I'm actually
Yeah.
not terrible.
Yeah.
I love like archery and axe throwing. Dude, have
Yeah.
you ever thrown an
You
axe?
talked to me about axe and like
Dude.
throwing axes. Yeah.
It's so
It
fun.
sounds fun.
And it just seems like a completely like warrior, like
Yeah.
crazy thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw axes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a place near me where it's like if you go with a group, like for a party or what have you,
Yeah.
they'll tell you the rules and everything, and then at the end of it, for the bonus round, they bring out the big axe, and it's like got a really long handle and a huge blade to it, and it's
Yeah.
just like,
Wow. Is it? Do you know how many pounds is that?
it's heavy. I'm sure it's less than 10 pounds, but still, like for an
Still.
axe,
Yeah.
something that you're throwing. I could never understand people that try to do the one hand thing, because
Yeah.
for me, I gotta double hand it behind the head.
Right. Because that's so destructive as well. Right?
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
It's so much. Imagine. I mean.
Can you imagine it's like being a good shot with a gun is one thing, but being
I feel
really
like
good with an axe.
I think it's more in a way, it's more destructive. The axe is more destructive.
Right.
Um, um, Maybe on the surface of the body. Like I know inside the body, a bullet can make so much damage.
It cuts through.
Yeah,
but
it cuts through, and
point.
it does a bit like this too when
Right.
it hits bones and stuff like that.
Right.
But an axe is like crazy.
Yeah, it gets all sorts of body parts
Yeah.
in. Man, it was funny. This morning, I accidentally left an alarm on. I meant to sleep in a little bit later, but I had an alarm that was set for 4 a.m. and I completely forgot about it. And but it's just one of those things that taught me something. It's like, look, sometimes you're in control.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a plan for you, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's got your best interest.
So how do you react to this? Would you would you go back to sleep, or because do you have your phone next to you?
This was
Or how do you
actually
sleep?
on a handheld gaming
Oh,
device.
that's
so-
why you forgot about
Yeah,
it.
that's right. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so it was that. It's actually like a glamorized Android, but it's a handheld. It's called an Odin, and you have emulators on it, so you can have hundreds of games on there.
Right.
But yeah, I've totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
And so it went off, and I have a hard time falling back asleep.
Right.
So I was up.
Yeah.
But it was a blessing
Yeah.
because I got to do a lot. I got to clean my apartment and finish an assignment I put off, and
Yeah.
you know, call my girlfriend and just just get stuff done. And it was a very and I also did some breath work as well, which was cool.
Awesome.
There was I can't remember his name, but there's a yogi on YouTube, and he's cool. He talks a lot about breath work as well. And what he showed in the video is he does these two exercises that are really like, they give your brain a good boost, a good energy boost with the oxygen.
Yeah.
And one of them is so simple. You do 7 rounds of breathe in through your mouth.
Yeah.
Hold your breath for 30 seconds, like with your belly, not like in your lungs. Like fatten your belly, and for like 15 or 30 seconds if you can, and then just let it out slow. So it's the ability to breathe in long and out really long as well.
So what's the purpose of that breathing exercise?
Well, when you hold your breath for a while, it makes you want to take deeper breaths after that.
Yes. Yeah.
So, especially after that really long exhale, when you go back in, you're probably not going to take another shallow breath again. You want to take another big breath.
Yeah.
So you start this chain a little bit. So that's the first one of the exercises. You do those. And I forget, people have the name for this where you hold one nostril down, breathe in,
Like
close the other one.
alternating.
Yeah, alternating, let it out, and then switch.
Yes.
So a couple rounds of that.
Yeah.
And after that, I felt good.
Yeah.
I did the assignment that I mentioned. It was a sheet music assignment on the computer. And then I did a little workout.
Awesome.
So that was
Have you heard of it's the 4-7-8 breathing exercise?
No, tell me all about it.
So it's basically 4 counts inhaling. You hold it for 7 counts, and you exhale out like pretty hard for 8 counts.
For 8 seconds, wow.
Which is crazy because you don't really have much time to inhale because it's only 4 counts. But it really forces you to it puts you in a very quickly in a flow state, like in what's it called, a state of close to, like, you change your
It's either sympathetic or parasympathetic.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly,
forgetting
yeah.
Which one?
You get into, what's it called, I think the delta waves, brain
Delta.
waves. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice. That's so cool. And there's something really profound about a really forceful inhale.
Yeah.
That activates your, and now I'm forgetting, I think it's parasympathetic nervous system. Correct us in the comments if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that will put you back in control. Mentally, and just calm you down.
Yeah.
So only 4 seconds to get a really big breath in, hold it, and then let it out for a long exhale. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
How many of those would you say is
So
good?
at first you gotta do 4 rounds of it,
Yeah.
and I think in 4 rounds it's only like so good to get to fall asleep. very quickly.
Right.
It helps you really like to calm everything down super quickly.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a technique that people use to fall asleep. I've done that before, and when you get used to it, you can do it even more, like up to 8 rounds of just doing this.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever Wim Hof breathed before?
Did some of his breath techniques. Yeah, once, but with a coach.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, at the gym once, but yeah.
I was pretty regular on them for a while, and it's really cool, you know. And there's several YouTube videos that do a guided breathing exercise, and basically, for those who don't know, you breathe in and exhale out, but not fully all the way out. And you do that. You can do it 30 times, like a lot of times, 40, even 50 times, and then on the final one, you take an extra big inhale. Let it all out and just hold your breath. And it's amazing with no air in your diaphragm or in your lungs how long you can hold a breath. And it's like over 2 minutes sometimes. And you're like, wow, I'm really... You don't feel like you're like gasping for air though. That's the crazy thing. Because you're so alkaline. You're so oxygenated. And it's good for your immune system, for your blood, and just everything in your body. And so that's how Wim Hof, the Iceman, is able to do all his crazy world record stuff, is through his breathing. He's able to just feel the cold and be okay with it.
Yeah.
You ever take cold showers, Will?
I mean, of course, yes. You? Yeah,
yeah,
me too, right?
I'm back at it. I wasn't for a while.
Nice.
But
that's how I start my shower anyway.
That's how you start.
Oh yeah, I would go cold at first, and then you take hot after.
Dude,
and I go
warrior.
back. I go back to cold for like 20-30 seconds after.
I'm gonna get back to that. I'm certainly gonna start cold again, but that to me is the hardest part. But I just start warm and then halfway through I go cold. But it's cool, man. It's really cool because lately, like every time I do that, I just say in my mind, just feel the cold. Don't react. Don't just feel it.
Yeah.
Yes. It is cold.
What about ice bath?
I've never done an ice bath before.
Even like cryo, you didn't ever try that?
I love cryotherapy. I've done that once. And it was great. It was so cool. Literally.
Yeah.
But the ice bath, man, I've always wanted to do that, especially after a workout where I'm really sore or something.
So here, there's something very, I think it's a study from like 2 years ago, something like that. Pretty recent one, where when you take a ice bath after the workout, it's great for inflammation and all that stuff.
Right.
Recovery as well. Although it's not that good if we try to have to gain muscle mass. So you want to separate these both. Like if you do a workout, to gain muscle mass, you want to do like that ice bath therapy after it.
Right.
It's better to really do 1 day or 2 days after. If you do it right after it kind of blocks the muscle growth.
Right, it stunts the growth a little bit. So you want the inflammation to kind of actually be there right after your workout, be a little inflamed, a little sore. Yeah. And then maybe a day or two later. Yeah. And that's when, if you're really, really sore with the delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS, that would be like the good time to do it. If you're like all achy and it hurts to get up and sit down.
It's like you wouldn't stretch after a workout when you're too sore.
Right.
Because your muscle fibers are so injured.
Right, they're all torn.
They're so torn already, and then if you stretch over that, it's just gonna create that big of pain,
Right. Yeah, don't mess with the process.
Yeah, you gotta really go for like 1 day or two, and then after you can stretch more.
Dude, that's great though. I'm gonna after a really serious workout, I'll wait a day and then I want to do the cryotherapy again. Yeah, there's places all over. Yeah, you are my fitness and workout guru, man. I think my big post earlier last week. Was my big weight loss thing, man. That was my official post on it. So, dude, thank you for all your help, man.
Congrats on that. What you did is amazing. Everybody was so impressed by the change before and after. They were like, this is so shocking.
Oh yeah, you don't notice it day to day. Like it's just like, okay, that's Mike. It's cool. We know Mike. But it's like if you compare, like, okay, this is what I looked like last year to Right
Yeah.
now, yesterday, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know.
Can
so-
you tell what made you change? Do you think like so drastically? Of course, not right away, because the progression was very natural too. I think for you, because it took months for you to get in the flow of doing it right. But what made that big shift? Even though from the first day to now, what was the progression, and what are the things that made you like
Right.
shift?
It certainly was not a straight line across, man. It was absolutely a tough journey, to be
Yeah.
honest, because I felt like I tried everything and I was like hopeless at times. I was
Mhm.
like, what do I do? How come this isn't coming so easy for me?
Yeah.
So you just have to be honest with yourself and very brave. And for me, the biggest thing for losing all of the fat was drastically changing my diet. And it's not like I am never like fasting long or like starving myself in any way. In fact, I probably eat more now, definitely eat way more now. But the thing that drastically made the big improvement for me was cutting the processed crap out.
Yeah.
And just don't do it. It's not
Yeah.
good, not fun.
And what do you think made you cut that out? What changed in your mindset to make this happen?
Well, I didn't feel good, even even after eating the quote unquote healthy stuff. If it's a product,
Yeah.
and it's got these complicated ingredients that you can't make at home, it's not natural. It's not going to make you feel good if
Yeah.
you compound that. Anything that you eat or you do is compounding.
Yeah.
You're never really plateauing straight across, even though it may look like I'm not improving, so I'm plateauing. No, it's a slight edge, and that's one of my favorite books. It's called The Slight Edge. You're either going up or down always. And so the big mindset switch that you're just asking about is, what can I do today? If I needed to do something regularly forever and just keep it that way every single day, even if it's boring or not eventful, what's the thing that I can do every day?
Yeah.
I can do rice and beans and vegetables every day, and an apple, some fruit,
Yeah.
and nuts and seeds,
Yeah.
because I don't get sick of those things. Have
Yeah.
you ever met someone that's like, I'm so sick of rice? I mean, maybe you have, but
I mean, no. I mean, it's such a simple carb as well.
and it's so cheap.
I mean,
too.
it depends what kind of rice you're getting. I'm thinking about white rice, right?
Yeah.
You're doing white rice?
I
or...
switch between, I do mostly brown rice.
Okay, so
but there's
brown
few
is
days
a
where it's white.
complex carb,
Yeah.
and white is a
Simple.
Yeah.
Right. So I love rice, and I'll eat it any day, anytime. So that's what I was getting at. Look, I can do this on a regular basis at
Yeah.
the very least.
Yeah.
And I'm just very, very adamant about it.
Yeah.
And the results seemed like they were day and night.
Are there other things in your lifestyle that you changed,
Yes.
or that you changed before your diet adaptation, or after it?
That's exactly. So I thought I was on the right track because I changed so many things before my diet, and that was
Yeah.
the one thing I just was like, oh no, I'm doing good. So I allowed myself to eat this junk still, and it's like, no, dude, that's the big piece right there. That's the big one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I tried everything, man. I tried waking up really early, changing my bedtime, like going to bed at like 8, waking up at 4 for a while, whenever I could, and exercising, but not on a regular basis like I am now. I would do a really big one and then just be dead for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
So you got to be consistent on that too.
Yeah.
So it's the big thing was the consistency, and going back to the book I mentioned, The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson.
Yeah.
It's a very simple concept that's just repeated over and over in the book in many different examples, using people's life experiences. But if you show up every day, most people aren't going to do that.
Yeah.
If you do a little bit of work every day, most people aren't going to do that.
Yeah.
And if you miss one day, it's not a big deal. It's nothing horrible happens, but compounded over time, it can definitely take you down, and eventually it can take you out.
Yeah.
So it's all about knowing that if is the slight edge working for you or is it against you?
Right.
You know, are you wasting time or are you reading a book?
Yeah.
You know, before bed. You know, how are you improving yourself or not?
You make me think of something that I think is pretty powerful. Is it's better to focus on the things that will make you fail, that on the things that will make you thrive.
Yes.
Maybe in a way, I want to explain that. It's because instead of like thinking I gotta work out maybe 5 days a week,
Right.
I gotta get this right. So if you focus on this all the time, it kind of put pressure in a way, which is a good thing. But if you focus on okay, if I skip 1 day, it's okay, but 2 days it's a habit.
It's a new habit.
It's a new habit.
Yeah.
You create a precedent. And so if you focus more on like, I'm doing my work, but if I skip 1 day, it's fine.
Right.
But if you skip 2 days, it's not fine. It's wrong.
Yeah, now you're in the danger zone.
Yeah. So I have the feeling that it's. I'm gonna maybe like ponder about that and think about if that's something I can bring in my coaching as well. Be like, it's all good. Don't work out that day if you don't want. Not if you don't want to, but actually if you don't want to, just don't do it.
Right.
Okay. Just don't do it and see what happens.
Yeah,
But
that's your day.
but like you working out 5 days a week, you skip 1 day. Well, it's fine, and 2 days you're wrong.
Right.
So you can like
Don't
think.
skip 2 days.
Yeah, you put the emphasis on the 2 day thing, so you don't feel too guilty. You don't
Right.
feel guilt any at all if you skip 1 day, but if you do 2, you know you're going down.
You bring up an excellent point. I think it's, you know, your mind will always tell you stuff. And I want to say a very clear thing on this episode. You are not your mind. You have control over your mind.
Right.
And if you want to take a day off, that is your decision. And you should own that decision and not let it be a choice that your mind made.
Yep.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I plan to take off Friday because I know, you know, that's just, I want to take that day off.
Yeah.
No other reason.
Yeah.
Not because I'm sore, because I'm tired, not because of anything else, because my mind is telling me it's too cold or anything like that. I am setting, you know, the intention, you know, I'm going to take that day off.
Yeah.
So,
And so you have control on that.
yes. And you can still take a day off and still have control.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
100%.
That's so powerful right there.
Do you have any question today for anybody's watching right now or listening right now, and for me as well?
Man, yeah, absolutely. So this will be a very, very vague question, but I'll get into the weeds of it because I think of it as two sides of a coin. But what does spirituality mean to you? What does it mean? You know, what is a defining thing if you were to describe it to somebody? Should we ponder that for a moment?
Let's ponder that for a moment.
So we're going to be silent for...
Let's be silent for 30 seconds
Sounds good.
and think about it.
Yes, here we
And
go.
here we go.
And 3, 2, think.
All right,
Cool. All right, shall I go first?
go first. Can't wait to
So-
hear it.
For lack of a better word, one thing about spirituality is it's kind of this feminine aspect. It's not this aggressiveness. It's just letting it go, letting things happen organically. Which, for example, was like my alarm clock accidentally going off and me just like saying, well, we're doing early today. We're
Yeah.
not, you know, I'm not going to be mad or fight against it. I'm just going to, this is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, if it's raining outside, you go outside and you deal with the rain.
Right.
So there's that, you know, letting things happen and just You know, look, they stole my car. Guess I'm walking to work. I'll get
Yeah.
get my steps in.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little extreme, but you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Just letting things happen. And then there's the other side of bravery, which is like certainly not being a pushover. Spirituality is bravery.
Mm.
You know, the more fear that you push past and that you deal with, that is directly equal to how spiritual you are. And there's a cartoon character that I think of that is, you know, the perfect spiritual person. You're not going to guess who it is. Most people know who he is. He's an old cartoon character. Bugs Bunny.
Okay.
So Bugs Bunny.
I don't see any spiritual at all.
Yeah, allow me to explain. So that's
I need explanation right now.
So he is not a menacing creature, but he's got, you know, Elmer Fudd and Yosemite Sam who have guns. They're trying to hunt him and kill him and shoot him.
Yeah.
And he's just sly. He's just cunning. You know, he just turns their power against them and lets them blast their face off.
Yeah.
So, and the thing about like bunny rabbits in general in wild, man, they're in the most terrifying environment. Anything can just kill them in an instant.
They look so innocent.
Yeah, but to me, that's being brave. They just deal with it.
Yeah.
They just hop around, run around. They are brave creatures.
They live anyway.
Yeah, they're just they're just living their life.
Yeah.
You know, if it seems threatening in this environment, you know, they go through it, push past it. You know, it's like they are used to it.
Yeah.
So that to me is a highly spiritual being right there, being in a very scary place and just, I'm cool.
Yeah, just live what you gotta to do anyway.
Right. I'm not going to attack anyone or anything. And even if they're attacking me, I'm just going to kind of spin it around on them and throw it right back.
Yeah.
Dress up as a woman. No, he does all funny antics.
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, as a kid I was watching it.
Right. But so that's, to me, that's a very spiritual creature right there.
Interesting.
He's like, I'm just going to mess with them.
Yep.
He's playing with his food, even though it's not really, it's not his food.
Yeah.
He's just messing around with the scariest things. It's like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love that. So, but what about you?
Awesome.
What would you say?
Well, it's very interesting because I have some point of view very, in a way, different, but at the same time it's the same. You can relate it to it very much, actually.
Nice.
Basically, to me, so spirituality would be to let go of the 3D world.
Oh.
And to understand that there is more to it, and to be closer to listening to your soul, be in touch with it, be connected with it, and because of that, you can to get to your point with Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Is that you live in a world where you choose to be connected to spirit, but at the same time you accept living in this world. So you trust, you give power to the spirit, and then you go out and live your life, even though you're afraid of, you can be like very, very scary environment you live in. But you
acknowledge that there's a different dimension.
100%.
We're in the 3D world.
Yeah.
But you know that the other one's there.
We cannot understand, and that's the beauty of it. I think we cannot understand anything beyond the 3D world.
Right.
But by acknowledging that this is happening at the same time, and both communicate to each other, these both dimensions, we can acknowledge that, but at the same time, so it gives us power to trust and move forward in a 3D world, like Bugs Bunny would do.
Yeah, he's aware of the other dimensions.
Yeah, and it just make his life meaningful by doing what he thinks he should be doing, which is not staying at home.
Oh yeah.
Or
moving.
hiding, whatever. Yeah, you just do what you gotta do.
Yeah, it's scary, but I'm not gonna stay still. I mean, being stuck in one place is the most dangerous thing you can do.
Yeah.
Moving around is how you stay safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
like a shark.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
But
that's true.
yeah, that's cool. And I can't even imagine how many dimensions there actually are.
So I was just watching a podcast with Louis Holmes, um, and he has this guest who was saying that there's actually 11 dimensions, but they are all like intertwined somehow.
Right.
And so that's why we are, as human beings, we just can see, less than 1% than the spectrum of light,
Right.
because we are meant to be taking action in the 3D world and not in the 4D worlds or 5D worlds.
Right. All we can do is take action in the 3D
Yeah,
world.
that's how let's say our purpose.
Right.
Somehow that's what we're gonna do. This is why we're here somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that the fourth dimension has to do with time.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that time travel can be a thing. But I think, honestly, with the power of breath and with music, I think you can transcend time.
Yeah.
I think being a master of music is being a master of timing. Because if you think musically, you can move quick or you can move slow. You can actually manipulate time in a way.
Yeah.
Because like tempo is how that works.
It makes me think of something crazy where, for instance, if you listen to a song that's a fast tempo, like 180 ppm,
Right.
and then you shift to different songs that's way slower, and you listen to for a long time, and you come back to that first song that was faster, you feel like it's way faster than it was before.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Dude, yes. And here's it on that point. So I don't know if you ever do tempo runs where you think about like staying in the ballpark of 180 is actually how I like to run, and it's pretty small steps, but you actually move pretty quick if you're running at 180 BPM.
Yeah.
And what's funny on that kick is I love electro house music, which most of it hovers around 132 BPM, the 128, somewhere around that there.
Yeah.
And as I'm running, which 180 is pap, 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 somewhere around that right there, listening to house music all of a sudden feels so slow.
Yeah.
It's just like 37
So it kind of
clicks
forces
behind.
you to run slow.
Yes, exactly. So it's totally something to be said about like time travel through music, more or less.
Yeah.
And it's on a very subtle way. It's not like I can travel to the 17th century.
Yeah.
But but we'll get there.
Well, there's something, I know there are experiments where they know how to move particles from one place to the other. So that's traveling time in space, So they can do only that on very small particles, but they can't do that on something that has many particles to
Just
it.
a matter of time.
Yeah.
Technology works exponentially.
Yeah, we never know how, combining maybe like human intelligence and artificial intelligence, maybe at some point we can find a way to do it. I don't know.
Right. Oh
to
my
speed everything up, and yeah.
Dude, that would be so crazy if
That'd be wild.
yeah, if you can time travel, but it's like maybe a bot of yourself, but it has your conscience. And you're vicariously experiencing.
How do you carry consciousness through the same occurrence, right?
Right.
That's the goal.
I don't think
here.
we're too far off, man. I think that could
Do you
happen.
think that's something we can actually do, or? I mean, we have no right answer to that, of course.
We've fantasized about it in fiction for the longest time, so somebody has like conjured the thought of it, down to detail. So boy, that would be such a crazy thing, maybe or maybe not in our lifetime.
Yeah.
But that could eventually that would be so ridiculous.
Because science fiction was like showing how we can talk to someone on a video, like having a video of someone talking to us,
right,
like miles away, like so far away from us,
right.
And now we can do it. That became real. And was also showing messages, like video messages, where you had a message from someone from before
across the world,
the world, like years ago,
right,
give you a message now. So if that, in a sense, this is time traveling,
Right.
because when you listen to the message of this person, you look at this person talking to you, you're actually experiencing the what's happening, the message is delivering to you,
Right.
right? So it's in a way you recreating this experience.
It's happening in your time too. That's
Exactly,
what's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Man. Even just sending a message or doing a video chat with someone in a whole, different time zone. It's like that's going faster than your time. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, that's
Yeah,
so crazy.
so in a way this is true. I mean, we are already working with using
time manipulation.
manipulation, yeah, for sure.
Dude, that's so crazy to
Yeah.
think about. So I honestly think it's a matter of time. No pun intended.
Yeah,
So,
man.
Yeah. You gonna get a workout in later today, or you got yours in already?
I got mine already. It was just I call this just warm-ups.
That's cool.
It's just to move my body, and
Yeah.
I don't do much. I just do I warm up for like 20 minutes.
Right.
That's what I do. Just to get the blood flowing.
I did something
not a
like
workout,
that
yeah.
this morning. There's a lot of these ads for like movement method and like primal movements and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You can find a lot of stuff for free on YouTube for sure, which is cool. But I was doing a lot of these knee rehabilitation stuff. Not that my knees are bad, but one gets achy from time to time.
Yeah.
So one of them was I stood on this. I have this kind of it's a metal table, very sturdy. I stand one leg and I just lift up and then bring it down really, really slow all
Yeah.
the way to the ground. And it's hard going down
I know, yeah.
because it's all your leg muscles.
Mhm.
It's everything around the knee that's supporting it.
Yeah, that requires a lot of strength for like your hips.
Yeah.
That the hip flexor, that's the part you want to work a lot, because it's such a small muscle right here in front
Yep.
of the hip, and but it's so strong too.
Yeah.
This is what you're gonna use when you do a clean, for instance.
Right. It does a lot of work.
Or you do like a thruster, like a dumbbell thruster, whatever thruster, where you don't, like, people would have the tendency to bend their knees and like to go down. But what you want to do really is to like pretend you're gonna sit on something.
Right.
So your hips gotta go backwards, and then your
you
knees
gotta
like
sit into it.
yeah, you gotta sit,
Right.
and then and come back up using the front muscle of your hip.
And you're using so many back muscles too. I mean, that's
Yeah, well, for posture, of course.
Yeah,
It's
of
back
course.
and
Your
core.
core.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah.
That's so cool, man. Well, that's good. Nice. I've been working very silently with all my workouts and stuff, but I've been promoting a little bit just my sandal running experience, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna, probably make a channel and do all that stuff very soon.
Yeah.
But it's been cool, just the difference that I've been noticing training in my zero. I'm actually wearing the ones today that I ran a half marathon in. So these right here are the Zero Z Treks. They're like maybe 7 millimeters.
Is there a drop on it, or what?
Zero
What is
drop.
that? This is okay. This
It's just
is
a little
just
heel cup.
a little. Okay.
Yeah, but really you can,
I wrote it. Yeah.
do that with it. So purposefully doesn't have support because your feet have all these bones in them and all
Yeah.
these nerve endings and stuff.
Yeah.
So you want to feel the environment, which is for anyone who's interested in doing like running in barefoot footwear, definitely start slow and do your steps very gently.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can get used to that. When I first started to do them, I was used to like kind of my stomping way of doing it with normal shoes, and it did not feel so good.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where you gotta go easy on yourself for a really long time.
Yeah.
You got how many?
You gotta
like 32 bones in your feet.
You gotta get used to it, like for your feet to really like reassess how to hit the ground.
Yes.
And do all
exactly.
that proper form, right?
Yeah, and just like strengthening all the tendons in your feet and in your
Yeah.
ankles all the way up to your knees and
Yeah.
everything. You gotta really just run gentle,
Dude,
slowly, daintily.
Across the way of one of my friend runner this morning,
Yeah.
who did the speed project
Nice.
last weekend. So they ran about 420 something miles, which is awesome.
Nice.
As
That's
a team, as a
lot.
relay team.
That's right. You were doing
and
that.
and then yeah, I did that couple of years in a row last year and the year before. But one of the guy I run with once did it this year solo. So he ran the entire trip, like race for so 400 miles by himself.
Wow.
And I was like, he told me that this morning earlier. I was like, this is so impressive.
That is
I
extremely
would like do massive
amazing.
respect, because
That's hard.
and I wonder, how do you train for that? This guy is super fit. He's a fitness trainer too. Is a super cool guy. I remember we were doing the race, and sometimes when we stop to exchange, runners, we just do some push-ups at the same time.
Nice. That's so cool.
Yeah. No, this guy is awesome. But yeah, I just heard he did that. So I was like, oh my god,
So
man.
he ran 400 miles total?
Yeah, 400 miles and 20 something.
Oh my gosh.
From
dude.
Santa Monica Pier to Las Vegas, and they went through the mountains. So Big Bear this time.
Oh my
You
goodness.
don't go straight north. They went like east and
and went up hills
Yeah.
and mountains and stuff.
Yeah.
That is so cool, man. That's
it's
crazy.
massive.
That at that point, man, it must be like a lifestyle, because it goes back to the slight edge consistent compounding.
Yeah.
You just stay religious about it.
So that's so true. I think over years your
Yeah.
body builds so much like strength, and in your tissue connections, it gets so strong.
Yeah.
And everything, you can really build something that's you cannot stop it. You can keep going forever. It's like when I do these workouts at this gym in South Bay. They do this called Gate 14, and they do it at 14 hours. For 14 hours, you got to do 1,400 reps.
Oh my God.
And the amount of weight increases, for every 100 reps. Yes, different exercises, and then you do 14 miles too. So,
oh my God.
So,
So it's like, yeah, how do you do that? Well, the simple answer is you become the person that can do that. And that's certainly not overnight or even in the span of 8 or 9 months. It's like, it's not like this was the rep that got me there.
No.
It's compounded over thousands of reps over
and
years.
So I did it twice, and the first year I couldn't finish it after 13 hours, something like that.
That's incredible, though.
So, but the year after, I had a pretty challenging year, and I couldn't train for anything like that.
Right.
I wasn't trained at all.
Right, wow.
But kind of last minute, I was like, I'm gonna do it anyway, and I could sense that because I did it before. I had something within me, but you did before, Will, so you can. You actually have the strength somehow. You have something within me where I was ready to do it still and go further than what I did before.
I think it's the mental aspect of it too, because
Yeah.
the first time
Does
you
help.
did it, even with training, it was a shock. You
Yeah.
know, because it's so
Yeah.
much. It's such a high volume of energy you have to exert. But now that you mentally know and took the snapshot in your mind of what's going to go down,
Yeah.
even with less training or barely any training, you're like,
Yeah.
all right, well, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I really throw myself into it and was like, F it, I'm just doing it.
Right. That's amazing,
Yeah.
man. That's the power of the mind right there. That's unbelievable.
So that brings me to my question is, what would be the factor in you that leads you to be able to overcome very hardship and to keep going, even though you face hard adversity, and what for you would be the thing that just keeps you going? What do you think that
There's
is?
two things, and it's going to be two David Goggins-isms, and if you haven't heard of that guy, that'll
Is that a religion now? Like Gogginsism?
Goggins-ism. I'm a Gogginsologist. I studied him. So two things that he mentioned that definitely get him through adversity or any of the really difficult things is the cookie jar, which is this thing that he put together where it's just all of his accomplishments. If he's really struggling and he's having a hard time, it's like, hey, you went through buds training 3 times, with broken legs and stress fractures. You had a really hard family life with a dad that beat you. All of these things, you got through that. You're here today, and you were 300 pounds. His whole story is ridiculous, and I'm kind of glossing through everything. But with the Army training, he was almost 300 pounds, and the instructor said in order to even qualify for the exams, you have to lose 100 pounds in not even 3 months, I think, like a month or something.
Yeah.
And so he did it.
Yeah.
So the cookie jar of your accomplishments is one big thing, and then the really simple one that I go to is, what if I could?
Yeah.
It's really hard right now, and I remember I've done 4 full marathons pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I could very easily stop right now because I am just toast.
Yeah.
But I was also thinking, what if I could? What if I could get to the end, even if it's so ugly and I'm walking the last mile of it, crawling on my knees and hands? What if I could?
Yeah.
That's the question I asked.
So you bring that element of believing in yourself in a way, right?
And that's where it all comes from.
It's a decision.
It's from inside.
Yeah, dude. That's so for me, I like to bring it to one simple thing is faith.
Right.
Because faith goes above everything. Mm-hmm. It's not about trusting. It's not about knowing, because you don't know.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
You don't know, but when you got faith, you cannot create that knowing for yourself.
You create your own path, your own future.
And depending on how strong is your faith, I think your faith can just bring you to you not being alive anymore, but you're okay with that.
Right.
For instance, for this kind of workouts, what I did with the Gate 14 or whatever, I would just be like, if I break myself, it's okay.
Yeah.
I know that I'm gonna be fine anyway, and that gives me the power to just survive for such a long time. And if I can relate an experiment to that, it would be the experiment of the mouse, the little rats they put in the water.
Oh yeah.
For me, that anybody I tell that to is like they're shocked when they hear about the fact of this. And I think that describes everything in life, and we have to remind ourselves this all the time. And that little story is crazy.
Tell the story after this.
Yeah, the experiment is they put that rat in the water and let it drown. And for the first time they put the rat is trying to, swim, and it doesn't swim, so it is trying to stay up for a long time like this, so it gets exhausted at some point.
Right, treading water.
Yeah, exactly. And then
finally they pick him up right as he's sinking. Probably,
they're gonna pick it up right before he starts to drown.
Right.
When he starts to drown, it's like, okay, you're good. And that for the first time they put in the water, the rats kind of swim for 15 minutes. So 15, so 5 minutes, right? And the experiment was like, what happens if we do it again? Does the rat remember what happened before or what? And matter of the fact is that they put the rat again in the water, and can you guess how long the rat stayed?
Okay, let's say 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Well, the crazy thing is the real time he stayed swimming was 32 hours.
That's so ridiculous.
It's shocking to know that. So that shows that it's actually, so he knows he's going to be saved.
Yes.
The rat knows he's going to be saved, and because of that, he just keeps going. And what makes him going is, number one is not being stressed out.
Right.
It just keeps swimming. It's like,
mental.
where's my guy? Where's my guy? Is gonna come soon, right?
Right.
And at some point, what keeps him doing this is the faith of doing this,
Right.
right? Even though for him, he doesn't understand, he doesn't have the same consciousness as us, so he doesn't understand what's happening really on our,
Right.
level.
Right. But he knows that
He doesn't know that,
he's not
this
gonna
guy
die.
next to me is gonna pick me up at some point. It just keeps going.
Right.
And having the faith of knowing that you're gonna be saved, it's, I think, the most powerful thing ever.
Absolutely.
Gonna keep you extremely resilient to going through any kind of hardship, and I think the most important thing about it, I think, it brings you peace to it.
Yes.
And then if you give everything, you feel like you're gonna die. Well,
Right.
you might panic at the last minutes, but for such a long time you stay calm and just keep doing the work and do whatever you can to survive or accomplish something.
Right. Right. That's so
yeah.
crazy, man. Wow.
Crazy story. I'm always
Yeah.
so amazed about that.
Yeah, and there's people that say, "Oh, I don't need faith, or I don't have, faith of any kind." And for one, it's like, "Oh, yeah, okay, good for you, man. Good on, good for you for being that lucky." But also, it's like you're not tapping into something
Well,
that can really help.
yeah, the moment you put yourself in a situation where you got to do so much work or accomplish something huge for yourself without having anybody showing you the way,
Right.
that's most people who don't have faith, I believe that they won't be able to succeed to it,
Right.
because they're gonna realize. I think having faith too is kind of like stepping into adulthood.
Yes.
You really become an adult at that point,
Yes.
because you don't rely on anybody to help you out.
That's it. You're the adult.
You know that you're gonna make it.
Yeah, it's wild,
Yeah.
man. It's such a crazy thing, adulting. We joke about adulting, but I mean, there is that real faith aspect to it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you're the person in charge, and anything that you fall short on falls directly on you.
Yeah.
When you could have done better or something.
Yeah.
So,
True.
but faith is definitely there.
Yeah.
And it's important.
It is very important.
Yeah.
I think it gives us a tremendous power.
Yeah.
I don't know who told me that the other day, but it was amazing how, I think it's Bobby. Bobby was
Nice.
like, yeah, we can. He texted me that the other day, was like, we can do so much more than what we think we can.
Oh yeah.
And so sometimes you gotta be guided, but if you have just yourself for it,
That's it.
put yourself into a huge amount of faith and focus on that, and focus on the work, the task ahead,
Right.
and just do it and know that it's gonna succeed and work.
Yeah, and it's so crazy. I feel like there's an element of letting go of expectations and the ego and stuff.
Yeah, also that.
Because you're giving it up to faith. And
Yeah.
it could be, you might get through it, and it might be so ugly, and it might not be anything you expected at all.
Yeah.
But that's just what it is. Get over it, Ducky.
Yeah.
Pick
Yeah.
yourself up.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, getting rid of the ego, self-judgment,
It's a big spiritual move right
And
there as well.
that's all it is. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And that brings us back to your question to spirituality and having faith in living in this very scary world,
Yes.
and knowing that everything is kind of meant to be,
Right.
not in a woo-woo way,
Right.
but in a way that is teaching
Just
us,
accepting.
and then accepting the fact that the world we live in is a challenge for us to grow,
Yes.
and we are being guided with faith.
Yes, and it's a very common thing. It's don't wish for an easier life. Just wish for
Being better,
being
stronger,
better, getting through it.
Yeah.
Man, that's
That's-
way better.
Yeah, for everything. Like, don't wish to be to have to pay less bills.
Yes,
Just
exactly.
get richer.
Just make the money.
Just make the money.
Pay the bills.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Get stronger. Get
Yeah.
better. Get
Yeah.
more educated.
Yeah.
All of it. It's any hardship can be a blessing if you flip it. You flip your
Dude.
perception that way
Every time.
every time. Yeah.
Just like yesterday, I had a news was like kind of not so fun, but
Mm.
oh, dude, that's great. thank you so much. I feel like this is God putting me back into the track.
Yes.
This is how it should be going, you know.
Right.
And sometimes when I try to control things too much, it's like, no, well,
It's like,
what?
Nope.
Nope, exactly, yeah. That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's great, and then
That's humbling.
that's so humbling, and it feels like when you manage to like have zero emotion about it, because at first always we have a little reaction to it.
Right. We're like, we get
It's like-
angry, and
it's
that's
like,
the ego.
"Oh."
That's the ego like dying.
Yeah, but then you'd be like, if you stay like in that state for reaction mode, like for 10 seconds, that's amazing work.
Right.
You'd be like, oh my god, I didn't get out of it
Get
right
out.
away, and you find peace right away,
Yes. You gotta flip the switch.
and like embrace it and
Is
be
it
grateful.
so bad? You know, is it something that's an obstacle that's gonna help you grow?
Exactly. It's like, oh man, this is perfect.
Yeah, this is just what I need.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
You know.
Cool.
Wow, that's so profound. Are we still running?
Bro, we're still running, and I mean that's pretty good. We got good amount of discussions today.
That's so cool.
Let's wrap this up, and we get back here next week.
That sounds perfect. And to everyone listening, thank you so much for checking this out.
Yeah.
Please, write some comments on your thoughts about
Yeah.
what we wrote with the timestamps. That's fun.
Let us know if you have any requirement, discussions, or questions. We want to
Yeah.
interact with everybody who's listening to us now, and
We're gonna keep this going.
yeah,
Same
feel
time
free
next
feel free
week.
to subscribe and hit the video if you like it.
Thank you so much for being here with us. Have an awesome day.